I'm carrying twin girls, but I can only keep one. Those were the words that changed Rachel Thompson's life forever when she found her mother's secret diary hidden beneath the floorboards. But that wasn't even the most shocking part. The diary revealed that somewhere out there, Rachel had an identical twin sister who had no idea she existed. And when Rachel finally tracked her down after 28 years of separation, what happened next will leave you speechless. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, because this hidden family secret story is unlike anything you've ever heard before. 3 months after her mother's funeral, Rachel thought she was just cleaning out an old bedroom. She had no idea she was about to uncover the most devastating and beautiful truth of her entire life. This emotional story will take you on a roller coaster of emotions, as one woman's desperate choice leads to a miracle that proves some bonds can never truly be broken, even when they're buried for nearly 3 decades. But before we dive into this incredible twin sister story that will restore your faith in the power of family, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this journey has more surprises than you can imagine. Rachel Thompson was living what she thought was a perfectly ordinary life. She was 28 years old, working as a marketing coordinator in Phoenix, Arizona, completely unaware that everything she believed about her identity was built on her mother's most carefully guarded secret. Margaret Thompson had been gone for 3 months, and Rachel was finally ready to face the overwhelming task of sorting through her belongings. Her mother had always been intensely private, someone who deflected questions about Rachel's early childhood with vague answers and quick subject changes. "Some memories are too painful to revisit, sweetheart," Margaret would say, whenever Rachel asked why there were so few baby photos or why she never talked about Rachel's father. Now, standing in her mother's bedroom surrounded by decades of accumulated memories, Rachel felt that familiar pang of frustration about all the questions that would never be answered. Or so she thought. As Rachel lifted the old wooden jewelry box from her mother's dresser, something immediately felt wrong. The ornate box was surprisingly light, and when she opened it, she discovered it contained only a few pieces of costume jewelry and one item that made her pause: a small brass key with intricate engravings that she'd never seen before. The key was obviously important, carefully preserved and polished, but what did it unlock? Rachel had been through every drawer, every cabinet, every possible hiding place in the house over the past few months. What could her mother have kept locked away that Rachel hadn't already discovered? That's when Rachel's cleaning took an unexpected turn. As she moved her mother's heavy oak dresser away from the wall, she heard something that made her heart skip. A hollow sound beneath the floorboards in the far corner of the room. One board was loose, deliberately so, and when Rachel pried it up with a butter knife, she found a hidden compartment that had been waiting 28 years to give up its secrets. Inside, wrapped in a silk scarf that still carried the faint scent of her mother's perfume, was a leather-bound diary secured with a brass lock that perfectly matched the mysterious key. Rachel's hands trembled as she realized that her intensely private mother had been keeping secrets far bigger than she had ever imagined. The first page stopped her cold. Written in her mother's elegant handwriting was Margaret Ann Collins, not Thompson, the surname Rachel had always known. Below that was a date that sent chills down her spine: March 15th, 1996, exactly 9 months before Rachel's birth. If you're already feeling the suspense of what Rachel was about to discover, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this emotional story is about to take a turn that will leave you absolutely stunned. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment of what happens next. With shaking fingers, Rachel turned to the first entry, and the words she read there shattered her understanding of everything. March 15th, 1996. The doctor confirmed what I already suspected. I'm pregnant. But there was something else, something that took my breath away. Twins. I'm carrying twin girls. I should be overjoyed, but all I can think about is how I'm going to manage this alone. David left when I told him about the pregnancy, and I have barely enough money to take care of myself, let alone 2 babies. Rachel read those words over and over, each time feeling like she was falling into a different reality. Twins. Her mother had been pregnant with twins, but Rachel was an only child. She had always been an only child. Where was her twin sister? The answer was hidden in the pages that followed, each entry more heartbreaking than the last as Margaret documented the impossible choice she was being forced to make. A young, unmarried woman with no money and no support system, facing the reality of raising two children she desperately wanted, but couldn't afford to keep. April 2nd, 1996. I've been researching adoption agencies, but I can't bear the thought of giving up both girls. Mrs. Patterson next door suggested I might consider keeping one and placing one for adoption. The idea breaks my heart, but maybe one baby would have a better life with a family that could provide for her properly. Maybe I could manage with just one. As Rachel continued reading, the full scope of her mother's anguish became clear. Margaret had spent months researching adoptive families, consulting with social workers, and wrestling with a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Each diary entry revealed another piece of the puzzle Rachel never knew existed. May 18th, 1996. I met with the Whitakers today. They live in Colorado Springs. They've been trying to have children for 7 years. Linda Whitaker cried when she held the ultrasound photo. They would love one of my daughters as if she were their own. They live in a beautiful house with a backyard and good schools. They could give her opportunities I never could. The tears came without warning as Rachel realized what she was reading. Her mother hadn't just given birth to one child. She had given birth to two, then made the heartbreaking decision to separate them to give them both the best possible lives. June 30th, 1996. I've made my decision. It's the hardest thing I'll ever do, but I know it's right. I'll keep one daughter and place the other with the Whitakers. The social worker says it's better if the girls don't know about each other initially. It will be less confusing for everyone. Maybe someday, when they're older, I can explain. Maybe someday they'll forgive me. But which daughter had Margaret kept? The question consumed Rachel as she flipped frantically through the pages, searching for the answer that would define her entire identity. The entries became more emotional as Margaret's due date approached, documenting her preparation for what she knew would be the most difficult day of her life. December 3rd, 1996. They were born this morning at 6:47 and 6:52 a.m., 5 minutes apart, but they might as well be living in different worlds. Baby A weighed 6 pounds, 2 ounces. Baby B was 5 pounds, 15 ounces. They're both healthy, both beautiful, both perfect. I have 3 days with both of them before. The entry ended there, as if Margaret couldn't bear to finish the sentence. But the next entry, dated a week later, revealed the truth that would change Rachel's life forever. December 10th, 1996. Linda and Mark Whitaker took their daughter home today. I watched from my hospital room window as they carried her to their car. So careful, so loving. I named her Victoria before they took her, Victoria Grace Collins. They said they might keep Victoria as her first name. I hope they do. I kept Rachel, my little dreamer, my gentle soul. She was baby A, the firstborn, the one who seemed to study the world with those wise eyes from the moment she arrived. The revelation hit Rachel like a physical blow. She had been baby A, the twin her mother had chosen to keep. Somewhere out there was Victoria, Victoria Grace, now probably Victoria Whitaker, her identical twin sister who had no idea Rachel existed. But the story didn't end with their separation. As Rachel continued reading, she discovered that her mother's guilt and longing had never faded. Margaret had written about Victoria constantly over the years, documenting her wonder about her other daughter's development, personality, and achievements. Through occasional updates from the adoption agency, Margaret had tracked the Whitakers' moves and Victoria's milestones from a distance. Most shocking of all, Margaret had actually seen Victoria multiple times throughout the years. She had driven to Colorado twice, once when the girls turned 5 and again when they turned 16, parking across from Victoria's school just to catch glimpses of the daughter she had given up. December 3rd, 2001. The girls are 5 today. I drove to Colorado Springs and parked across from Victoria's school during pickup time. I saw her walking to the Whitakers' car. She has my hair but David's smile. She was wearing a pink backpack and holding a drawing she'd made. She looked happy, confident. I made the right choice even though my heart breaks every day. As the afternoon light faded, Rachel discovered something that broke her heart even more. Dozens of unsent letters tucked between the diary's back pages. Letters to Victoria, letters to Rachel, letters explaining the truth that Margaret had never found the courage to send. Each letter was a testament to a mother's love and regret, her desperate desire to reunite her daughters balanced against her fear of disrupting their lives. One letter, dated just months before Margaret's death, revealed her deepest regret. "My dearest daughters, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and someone has found my hiding place. Rachel, my darling girl, you have a sister. Victoria, sweet child I gave away, you have a sister too. I know this revelation will be shocking and perhaps painful. I know you might hate me for keeping this secret, for making the choices I made. But please know that everything I did was done with love." The letter included everything Rachel would need to find Victoria: her adoptive family's name, their last known address in Colorado Springs, even photocopies of adoption documents and birthday cards Margaret had bought but never sent. It was clear that Margaret's final wish had been for her daughters to find each other, even if she couldn't find the courage to make it happen herself. Margaret's last diary entries confirmed this. Despite her illness, despite knowing she was running out of time, she had planned to tell both daughters the truth. Her final entry, just weeks before her death, was heartbreaking in its simplicity. March 3rd, 2024. "The doctors say I have months, maybe weeks. I need to tell the girls the truth before it's too late. They deserve to know about each other. They deserve the chance to have the relationship I took away from them. Tomorrow I'll call Rachel and Victoria. Tomorrow I'll finally be brave enough to fix what I broke 28 years ago." But there was no tomorrow. Margaret had died 2 weeks later, taking her secret to the grave. Or so she thought. Now Rachel faced an impossible decision of her own. She could honor her mother's original choice and leave Victoria's life undisturbed, or she could fulfill Margaret's final wish and reach out to the twin sister who had no idea she existed. The weight of that decision kept her awake all night, staring at the ceiling and wondering what Victoria was like. Did they look identical after 28 years of separate lives? Did they share the same mannerisms, the same interests, the same quirks? Had Victoria ever felt the strange sense of incompleteness that Rachel had experienced her whole life? As if something important was missing, but she couldn't identify what. By morning, Rachel had made her choice. Her mother's final wish had been clear. She wanted her daughters to know each other. Rachel owed it to Margaret's memory, to Victoria, and to herself to at least try. The search began with social media, the modern miracle that makes finding long-lost family members possible in ways Margaret never could have imagined. Rachel typed, "Victoria Whitaker, Colorado Springs, Colorado," into various platforms, her heart racing with each result that appeared. And then she found her. One profile photo made Rachel's breath catch in her throat. It was like looking at a photograph of herself in different clothes. The woman in the picture had Rachel's exact face, her hair, her eyes, even the same way of tilting her head slightly when smiling. There was no doubt whatsoever that this was her twin sister. Victoria's social media profiles revealed a life that was both completely different from Rachel's and eerily similar. She worked as a veterinary technician, loved hiking and wildlife photography, and owned 2 rescue cats. But the similarities were striking. The same taste in music, the same quirky sense of humor, even the same way of writing captions that suggested they processed the world in remarkably similar ways. For 3 days, Rachel stared at Victoria's photos and posts, crafting and recrafting a message that seemed impossible to write. How do you tell someone they have a twin sister they never knew existed? How do you explain 28 years of separation in a way that doesn't sound completely insane? Finally, Rachel decided on the direct approach. "Hi, Victoria. I hope this message doesn't come as too much of a shock, but I believe we might be sisters. I recently discovered some information about my family that suggests we might have been separated at birth. I know this sounds crazy, but I think we might be twins. I found documentation that indicates you were adopted by the Whitaker family in December 1996. and I was born on December 3rd of that year in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're willing to talk, I'd love to share what I've learned and hear your story. I understand if this is too much to process or if you'd prefer not to respond. Either way, I wanted you to know that you have a sister who would love to get to know you. Rachel Thompson. The waiting was agony. Rachel watched the message go from delivered to read and then nothing. Hours passed. Had Victoria dismissed it as a prank? Was she researching Rachel online, trying to figure out if this could possibly be real? Was she talking to her adoptive parents, processing the bombshell that had just been dropped into her life? Just when Rachel was beginning to think she would never hear back, her phone buzzed. "Rachel, I've been staring at your message for 2 hours, and I still can't believe what I'm reading. I've always felt like something was missing in my life, like there was a piece of me I couldn't quite identify. My parents, the Whitakers, told me I was adopted, but they said my birth mother was very young and couldn't provide any information about my biological family. I never thought I might have siblings. Can we talk on the phone? I have so many questions." Victoria. That evening, when Rachel's phone rang at exactly 7 p.m. Mountain Time, her hands were shaking so badly she could barely answer. But when she heard Victoria's voice, soft, tentative, but unmistakably similar to her own, she knew that everything was about to change. "Rachel," Victoria said, and in that single word Rachel heard 28 years of questions and longing. "Victoria, hi. I can't believe this is really happening. I know. I've been nervous all day. I even called in sick to work because I couldn't concentrate on anything else." What followed was a 4-hour conversation that felt like a lifetime of catching up compressed into a single evening. They compared childhood stories and discovered an almost supernatural number of similarities. Both had broken their left arm at age 7 in nearly identical accidents. Both had developed a fear of elevators after traumatic childhood experiences. Both had chosen careers helping living creatures, and both had the same distinctive birthmark on their right shoulder blade. Victoria revealed something that gave Rachel chills. "I've always gotten this overwhelming sadness on December 3rd, our birthday, like I was mourning something I couldn't identify. Now I think I was missing you." When Rachel shared their mother's diary entries, explaining Margaret's impossible choice and her years of secret surveillance, Victoria was silent for a long moment. Then she whispered, "She saw me. She actually watched me grow up, and I never knew." "Do you think she was proud of how I turned out?" Rachel read directly from the diary. "Victoria is everything I hoped she would become. Kind, intelligent, strong. The Whitakers have raised her to be the woman I always dreamed she could be." By the end of the call, both women were crying. Tears of grief for the years they'd lost, joy at finding each other, and overwhelming gratitude for the mother who had loved them enough to make the hardest choice imaginable. They made plans to meet the following weekend. Victoria would drive to Phoenix, and for the first time in 28 years, the twins would be in the same room together. The reunion exceeded every expectation Rachel had dared to hope for. When Victoria knocked on her door that Saturday morning, it was like looking into a mirror that reflected not just her appearance, but her soul. They were nearly identical physically, but more importantly, they connected in ways that went far beyond genetics. They finished each other's sentences, laughed at the same moments, and seemed to communicate in a language only they understood. Victoria brought photo albums from her childhood, and when Rachel laid them next to her own family pictures, it was impossible to deny that they belonged together. Even raised in different states by different families, they had developed the same expressions, the same mannerisms, the same way of experiencing the world. "Look at this," Victoria said, pointing to a photo of herself at age 5, standing in the exact same pose as a photo of Rachel at the same age. "It's like we were connected even when we were apart." The weekend flew by in a blur of shared stories, discovered similarities, and the gradual building of a relationship that felt both brand new and ancient. Victoria met Rachel's friends and was instantly accepted as part of the family. Everyone marveled at how natural their bond seemed, how obvious it was that they were sisters despite having just met. When Sunday evening came and Victoria had to return to Colorado Springs, Both women were reluctant to say goodbye. They had found something they hadn't even known they were missing: each other. "This isn't goodbye," Victoria said as she prepared for the drive home. "We have the rest of our lives to be sisters now. We have 28 years of birthdays to make up for, holidays to share, and a lifetime of memories to create together." Over the months that followed, Rachel and Victoria built the relationship their mother had always hoped they would have. They talked every day, visited each other regularly, and slowly became the integral part of each other's lives they had always been meant to be. Most importantly, they came to understand and forgive their mother for the choice she had made. Reading Margaret's diary together, seeing her anguish and the love that had motivated every decision, both women realized that their separation had been an act of profound sacrifice, not abandonment. "She gave us each the best life she could," Victoria said during one of their many long conversations about their unusual family history. "She kept you because she believed she could provide for one child, and she gave me to the Whitakers because she knew they could give me opportunities she couldn't afford." It broke her heart, but it was an act of pure love. The emotional story of Rachel and Victoria's reunion touched thousands of people when it was shared online, becoming a testament to the power of family bonds and the possibility of second chances. Their story proved that love really can find a way, even across decades of separation, and despite seemingly impossible circumstances. Today, Rachel and Victoria are inseparable. They've traveled together, supported each other through life's challenges, and even started a non-profit organization that helps other separated siblings find each other. They're living proof that some bonds are stronger than time, distance, or even the most carefully guarded secrets. Their mother's hidden family secrets, buried beneath floorboards and locked away for 28 years, ultimately gave them the greatest gift of their lives: each other. Margaret's choice to separate them had been born of love and desperation, but her final wish for them to be reunited was equally motivated by love and hope for the future. This incredible twin sister story proves that sometimes the most important chapters of our lives are written long before we're ready to read them, and that family bonds can survive any separation, overcome any obstacle, and heal any wound when given the chance to flourish. If this emotional story has touched your heart and restored your faith in the power of love and family, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories that will inspire and amaze you. Share this video with someone who needs to believe in second chances and the magic of family connections. And remember, somewhere out there might be someone who's been missing you their whole life without even knowing it. Sometimes all it takes is the courage to reach out and the faith to believe that love really can conquer all. What would you do if you discovered a family secret that changed everything you thought you knew about your life? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other amazing stories about family reunions and hidden secrets that will restore your faith in the power of love, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us all.